Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Moonbase, and before we get started on the next tier list, by the time you're seeing this video, regardless if you're seeing this by the premiere or if you're seeing this in the future, but when I'm making this video, it is Halloween. So I want to say Happy Halloween, and I hope you guys had a great holiday. But yeah. And secondly, if you haven't seen the last installment of this series, I will leave a link to the previous episode in the description below, and but right about now you'll see an iCard to the last episode. So if you haven't seen the last episode, please check that there now. And not only that, the last thing I want to get over is there is potential spoilers, so meaning that I will be talking about each episode briefly. But so that being said, if you're someone who hasn't seen up to season 3 up to this point, please click off now or you will be spoiled. Thank you. So, like usual, we'll start, or at least now we'll start with the very first episode of the season, which would be Operation Future, which would be this episode. And I think, unlike the last season, I thought that the last season did a good job here, but with this one, I think it's a strong start. So I'll say a start here. And the reason is that the one thing I didn't like about this episode is that there's in that episode there's like a lot of fart noises, which obviously potty humor is funny apparently, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing because it actually worked, but I just felt like it could have been better. The next episode is Operation Afloat. Definitely a god tier, and I'm not going to explain this one because obviously a lot of the jokes in this episode were top tier. But basically, in this episode, it's about Sector V going to a villain barbecue, um, which I'm pretty sure all the villains that I noticed in that episode were all the villains that we have met up to that point, except for the delightful children and father, I believe. So I'm guessing that they aren't in this episode for whatever reason. But overall, I thought the episode was great, and I think it's one of the more fun episodes. Next episode is the Operation Leader. Excuse me, Operation Leader, which honestly, trust your. And like I said before, I don't hate Lizzie. Trust me, I don't hate her. But this is one of the episodes that I felt like she did terrible in, kind of similar to her debut episode, which would be Operation Lizzie. So yeah, I think it's kind of terrible. So, you know, but the one good thing I can give it is that we get to see more of Chad, which I did say in the first video that I will talk about Chad a bit more, but since this is the second appearance that we see him, I don't think it's a good time to talk about Chad here. But hey, at least I did want to bring him up that Chad is back in this episode, so there we go. So Operation Utopia is next on my list, which would be Operation Utopia would be this one. I'd say I'd say like a good job tier because something about it. I originally was gonna put this episode in God tier, but actually rewatching the episode, the one thing I didn't like is that well, the one good thing is that they actually used the part where number 4 is afraid of swimming or something like that, which that's a good utility because in that episode, number 1 was in a dream, and all the Sector 5 or Sector V characters, excuse me, except for number 1 was swimming, which number 4 is afraid of swimming. So I will give him that. But the only reason why I decided to put this lower is that I didn't really like how dumb number 1 is at first because you expect him to be something off way sooner, you know? So next is Operation Robbers, which would be this one. Definitely a god tier episode. Like it's basically like a Wild West episode where it's kind of hard to explain this one because it's kind of like a chaotic episode, but it's like a Wild West one. So about like um some cowboy kids or something that are stealing other people's homework basically, and it's kind of an intense one. Operation Fountain. This is definitely a god tier. I think I'm gonna put it right above this episode, these two episodes, because something about it. And if you didn't know, this episode is a huge parody of Harry Potter, which I love Harry Potter. And by the way, I don't like the author, but if you know what's going on with that, I'm not going to go into detail in this video, but you know what I'm talking about. If you know anything about that situation. So Operation Butt. This one's kind of hard to place. This one, but I think we're gonna put it right here, above, a little bit above Operation Future, is because this one's about number one going to the beach for like a little mini day out, I guess, because he's working too hard, and a lot of butt jokes. Basically, I know a lot of people don't like butt jokes, but this one I can give it a pass because it's kind of funny. Um, Operation Training, definitely a god tier. I think I want to put it right behind Operation Fountain. So this episode is a bit different because if you didn't know up to this point, it's always been a point of view of a Sector V member. But this one, no. This is about it's a point of view mostly of Tommy, who is Hoagie's little brother, which you probably remember him from previous seasons, but mostly from Operation End and Operation Tommy, if you ever seen those episodes. And um, if you didn't know, by the end of Operation End, I believe, they allowed him to join the candy, but he has to, of course, get trainings, which is this is the episode, so that's about it. So next one is Operation Archive. I originally wanted to put this episode in God tier, but after I thought about it, I think I'd say it's a star tier, a high star tier. So basically, this one gives you a backstory of the character Father, which we seen him a few times, but this gives it a little bit of backstory of Father, and I actually think it's really good, and I definitely think it's a really good episode. Operation Slumber, which would be this one. I think I want to put it like right behind Operation Archive because this one's like a sleepover party, and the reason why I was gonna put it in God tier, but the only thing that's holding it back is because number 86, which I did say in the last video, she's definitely one of my favorite characters. But the problem here I have with her is that she was a bit more stupid. Like I know that she does stupid things sometimes, but and I don't like calling characters stupid, but she was definitely stupid because you expect her to know that Chad was pretending to be her mom, which you expect her to do really sooner because, assume that she lives with her mom for most of her life anyway, or up to this point. It's like, it's kind of weird. So, Operation Pink Eye. Okay, I have history with this episode, which I will go do that. I'll talk about it in a minute, but, I want to rank it as a good job tier. And definitely, and with the backstory of this episode, I actually remember seeing this episode live on Cartoon Network back in the day, and I was like terrified with this episode, and I actually wanted to scream when I saw this episode, but I didn't. And honestly, I actually like this episode, but it's definitely one of the more disgusting episodes. So if anyone watching this video and hasn't seen the show for whatever reason, be prepared, mentally prepared because of this episode in Pacific. So Operation Castle. Where did I put Operation Castle? Would be right here. Definitely a god tier. I think I want to put it right behind Operation Training. So basically, this is like the second part of Operation Beach, which I think I talked about it in the last episode or last installment of this series. Which that episode is definitely a god tier. This is also a god tier episode because this is like a sequel. So if you wanted to skip most of the episodes, just go from Operation Beach to Operation Castle. You wouldn't be missing much. Maybe a little bit of detail, but that's about it. Operation Cake 3. I'd say um I'd say definitely a start here, but I'd say right behind Operation Future. So basically, like I said in the last few episodes, specifically the first video, it's like a cake escapade every season. So this, of course, this is season 3. We'll give Cake 3. Um, so basically, it's kind of like another cake episode, which honestly, we all know that almost every caked episode is probably a great one in their own right. for the most part, so I'm not going to talk about it, but they're really good. Uh, Operation Lockdown, which is this one, if I can find it right here. I'd say good job tier, but I think I want to put like a high god tier or good job tier. So basically, this one's like an interesting one. So basically, it's about the Sector V had to go on lockdown because of count quote speculation of Spankulot is coming back to their treehouse when it's not the case. And pretty much all of the Sector V members, except for number 5, became vampires because they were spanked. And it's an interesting episode. Operation Hugs, which is this one. I'd say it's probably a meh episode. Similarly to some of the other previous Met episodes before, I don't hate this episode. It's just that I felt like it's one of the more pointless episodes, but at the same time, I didn't think it's a bad episode because I think it's really decent in their own right. So I can probably say it's like a passable. But I wouldn't say I would watch this episode over and over again because I just don't care about this one. But hey, I know that some people might like it, but not for me. Operation Jules. I'd say right behind Operation Castle. So I think this one's about number 5 getting a blurp. I think the flavor's like blurpleberry, if I'm not mistaken. Jewel from Heinrich, I think that's his name. I could be mistaken. And for number 1's birthday, which is kind of cool. I honestly love this episode, and pretty much any number 5 episode is great. So I'll give him that. Operation Graduates, which would be this episode. I'd say like a high start here. So basically, this is kind of the sequel episode of Operation Training, where uh, the main characters for this episode graduated and became official sector or KD members, which we of course got Sonya and Lee for Sector W, and for this episode, Tommy, who is like I said before, Hoagie's younger brother, becoming official member of Sector V for this episode. Of course, that didn't last long. But I think this is a good episode, and I actually think it's one of the more interesting episodes. Uh, Operation Tricky, and it's kind of ironic that this video is going to be up, or at least the premiere of this episode is going to be on Halloween, uploaded on Halloween. This is actually a good episode to talk about right now. I think I want to put like a high good job tier. I was gonna put this in a gold in the star tier, but no, I think it fits more in a good job tier because I actually do love Halloween, but I think I've seen better Halloween episodes in my opinion around this time. So I think it's not the best Halloween episode, but definitely is good. Operation Uncool. I say good job tier as well. It's kind of the same reason I say for Tricky, but could have been better. Sorry for the cut, but the next episode I have is Operation President, which I'd say if I had to rate this one, I'd say it's kind of like in the meh tier, but high meh tier. It's kind of like similar to Operation Hugs. There's not a lot going on, but the only thing that is important is that the fourth grade president character is kind of important for later. But kind of like previous videos, I'll try to remember to bring them up, but because the fourth grade president is important for later. So don't worry, I'll try to remember for the fourth grade president, but he is important. It's just not right now. Operation Hospital. I'd say I think it's a start here, right here. It's kind of like another Bradley episode. So it's kind of like a similar thoughts I had with Operation Camp. Like it's kind of similar thoughts there, but this time it's in a hospital and not like a campsite kind of way. So that's all I can think. That's how I can describe it. Operation Sprout. I think it's a high good job tier. It's kind of like it's another number 4 episode where he swallows like a Brussels sprout, which I don't understand why they don't like it because I like Brussels sprouts. But hey, that's my opinion. But hey, it's a really good episode. I actually liked that one. And last but not least, the finale, I guess, from based on HBO Max is Operation Hound. I think I want to put it. I think I want to put it right behind Operation Sprout. Kind of similar reason. I don't mind it. Could have been better, but that's about it. So, and like I said, this is all I can say for now. And like I said, this video will be premiering on Halloween. So, happy Halloween, everyone. And if you're watching this in the future, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon next time.